Good evening, everybody. I'm going to say, do you say another Kilibanja as usual, my major. Just tuning in, just a reminder this is what the radio #1 radio station in London. It's a menu with video and copy beer because right from this time all the way to 7 p.m. I'll be in your homes and you'll be doing tea and coma ecoso ewagana. And you ma ecoso a be and some no be a ramp a be a de a be so a as I'm saying. Then I bet be near been pensing not your salt in the abroad. Now also so watch what dream because and come already and you make one of me name a better for any material for India, I would like to extend a special thanks and a special welcome to anybody who just tuned in for the very first time. So right from now all the way to the time 7 o'clock on the minimum of age, like I don't know, and next year when some UK, I just want to give you a little bit of background. As you might know, no, run around this time, yeah, no, that that's the year autumn. I say you move yes, but for the past few days, I say yeah, quality is really cold. I would like to know how you feeling wherever you're listening from. Especially in your mama Ghana, maybe some more better. Sunny Ghana is you. Even some masses here, there's like global warming. It could be says here there's been a change since here, no, and something different. I would like to know. Anything you want to say right from the beginning? Open to me, tuning in, and I'm pioneer the 0208 144 8773 0208 144 and no one at the Jumano right from the beginning. I could see a name. And see, I beg a father to Mr. Ima and Obeti Ima and Kanem for some time. No, yet Ima can't. As the program progresses, you know, the calendar has a some young man, so and opening as the program progresses. It's your because what is going on in Ghana as we speak this week. And some may go a person, even is or say a black command speaker for admitting motion to prop national cathedral expenditure. Now, me comment about societal expectation of male genital biases for proliferation of aphrodisiacs. And the member na simudedro. Yes, it's Mudadro na and Bema Beman and the Munsam of Ebebremo say, yes, say, Bemobefa, no more call so a long distance, another short distance, and it made it in Stop unauthorized Kayaye hostel project at Agbogboshi, a Yega traditional council, and it's in semi epi and a tien ekofasa, onye nei epi and not these kind of initiative never. And that many of you for a bit chimo, na ya pensemo, also bet to me a friend, no much I'll see how um is S Gracia determined? Can Mahama really scrap it? Somehow when you say a year a mamu and for moko a jumana say or mopoma no continue fear free be S Gracia. And then most then some yes S Gracia no. Yeah, yeah, be here for one. And do you actually agree to it? And I said, when you agree to or disagree. I hope say be more to make a juma papa no ne ma me no mo civil servant or me juma 30, 40 good years, even more than that. Now mo be our pension no and ne obi juma ha for 4 years. Ya na so so ya kakra o. It is as gracia. Do you actually agree to it saying scrappy and as my scrappy? Mahama no be propose sadi. MFA every day, so now I'm a DJ Young, the number one DJ. I was up ready. Who not your partner? Who said, well, Bobby Rat Studio? I say, but yeah, and DJ, a special shout out to you. Now, first of all, call Ghana BRC and police dispatch rider dies in gruesome accident in Accra, Kumasi Road. The mom him a year Kumasi and Crown Kwai every day. There is something going on, taking so many lives. And sometimes you beside who say, what are we doing about it as a country? Every day, accident do happen into a friend accident, but you do baby so. Not say accident means it could have been prevented. We as yeah, right, this police a dispatch you need you could it have been prevented and also I have utmost respect for the court. I am not above the law and yet McDonald react solely to the contempt case I in the court. Ɔse Ejeko nnɛ nyaba beduru nnɛ ɔse parliament passes pension bill. Sɛ wohu sɛ nkyɛe biara na parliament ho nsɛnsɛnsɛm bebree baeɛ na this bill na ɔma pass no, is it actually what yɛhwehwɛ anaasɛ is something different? Ɛnnɛ yɛde mu nsɛm nyinaa bɛbrɛ. As you may know, a year or two now, and a date, yes, a fifth of March. Now, when Mr. Ghana, the state March, na independence. Now, independence soon do not March pass, and it's a March pass junior. Not just a year money, a home sense in the brain. Now, wait, yes, so far, what I said, let's rather use the money to provide infrastructural facilities rather than say, we have now college able to show no sabre no yeah so na emphasis can na invest it for one day show no infrastructure projects. Do you agree or do you disagree? Because sometimes yes say adie bi ho no ma o say we ye ne se ne ye ne pepepe na so wa anya ne pepepe na say sometimes nyesika nyina na yedi. Do you agree to that or do you think say we should go the traditional way yenya match pass to as if there Ghana nya ho fa wodi no and I say yemfa sika no rather yemfa invest in other places and I say places are more developing yemfa sika nko only so fire e adwe 80 winning some February and then net and then some ya be born to me you if you didn't call baby yeah. Right now, yet in common so. And but just to let you know, there's one story here, very, very interesting. As you may know, a year yeah, brother, a year Christian say it in 1 week, Na and someone na is still holiday, say, Ubika say, 70 na, so catch a year. that program near very, very sober and a rehearsal and a lot of dignities, a lot of bebree, eba honum, footballers, a lot of celebrities. Yeah, betray the door edema, a ye achu. Almost say, and should be a new dates no for a year no a date no upper house. A baby no a faster house in front of faster house. It's a man no the government supporting baby park. So the last time we had a program, we dedicated the program to him, dedicated not just to him, but for Yenianum and Nipa, Sibi, or during the year Turkey and Syria in Ukraine. So yeah, not having. Ain't it been maybe I would see me? I'd like to know your thoughts. Were you there at the ground? Who share with him? Did you watch it live? It was social media and also who share what TV so and now for your YouTube because right now I know there's so many areas that will be to me. I share no and what do you think? What is your reaction? I'm say yeah, as a much from what I had no, I saw no as a boy giant by a year Sule was there. Omunyina Emma speech. Now it was interesting. Say as a moja and the band. I didn't even know as a moja or band or the band by and share a brand here what he has done, what he's achieved. Ediama Ghana and to look at the football fragmented football world ɛne nnipa a wɔrela ɔno no a na kyerɛ sɛ ɛyɛ adeɛ a na ɛɛfɛ kɛkɛ koraa ɛɛfɛ nti ɛyɛ yɛn nua atwu sɛ sisi a date no deɛ ɛyɛ nwura pɛ ɛna yɛde date no nyinaa ɛbaeɛ a kyerɛ sɛ sisi a no yɛn nua no yɛagye atom yɛsi nnipa kita adeɛ a owó kita adeɛ a ma ɛntumi agye sisi adeɛ. Menura, what we saw no, I say, you know, see at the Yamea in Chibi, March, a year, the bear, so no, what's up? So, yes, you do what, yes, you are for Tanasi, yes, so, yeah, had any life. And you know, for the beer and not yes, yeah, the program. Just to let you know before say me dey question so na make sure say ene ye betsi ma enka ima every studio ha ain't without much ado mema ima achiachi abusuafo na yem say hu ima ache yi pa na baby okose no ono ankasa ono ankasa yi na no ain't ema ima achia ima good evening.
Good evening, Nana.
And probably today won't catch it.
Ima, Michelle, don't say I don't say that kakra. I'm saying we can also any amwame. I was say I need in Shadani.
Is that?
And the father said I'm me yeah, kakra creation.
No make say avoid the pass most go to near that and go to be the rest you as I as them to.
Then there's a very good idea. I want to say I said your own thing say I want to tell you go to me.
Go to me, Joe. And this year, there's interesting weather no, we say usually around February. Now me come once. I don't know whether you were listening on your way. You do February. I know that February is not warm, but this year, no, I said weather the baba be hot. Now in Niaji, all of a sudden from last week, the weather no drop it, temperature no drop here, and this weekend is I went into what is happening?
No, I said science in first school, I catch you say global warming. That's the answer, because you could see it's around this area getting closer to spring.
Yeah.
And March, February should be the coldest,
Mm-hmm.
right? February down to January, February, you see the coldest. But this time around, no, February, every time I say warm, crazy, and normal, trouble, let's see. And in fact, as we speak, I hear you are going to go to -10
Hey,
on Monday night. It's a -10. Yes, sir.
negative. Hey.
It's a story. It's a kind of careful because the rules are yes,
But the,
much not normal.
and it's interesting because me temperature na drop is because last yeah, temperature na drop me that could me quick mom because me battery na give you up. Inti.
It is normal, but Nana, I say many I mentioned is if I measure it for the few years I've been in this country, this trend, well, say usually and can January will slow up too heavy. I told you January, February, when I told you and then the whether they warm up.
Yeah.
But it's around up and down. Yeah, share that just look up every year. Look at this year's no I share them together. The weather is so cold. What's this no time more than but it's so cold as the year.
Yeah, it's for so would hear me now outside Ghana and you Europe when I say baby. I would like to know your thoughts. Maybe I want to know whether no it is saying is it quite similar to what is happening in the UK now? Because sometimes and go for UK for come say it is a you should buy United States whether no. I would like to know so most maybe I want to so what Ghana no is it like how it used to be? Maybe I will be and my main thing on Ghana so go comment section where say Imam I seriously global warming meaning say maybe also experience maybe sir that would be interesting to know. Now you say a day Ima and there's this story here attracting me and I would like us to touch on it. I see social media users react to alleged mob killing of soldier in Ashama. Now the mark story no yet interesting. My main cover to see me yeah, then free. Just bear with me one moment. I'll see some Ghanaians on social media have reacted to the alleged killing of a member of Ghana Armed Forces by the mob in Ashama, a suburb of Greater Accra region. According to some tweet, the armed personnel who was described as a young soldier who was on his way home when he was attacked by a gun. Report indicates that the soldier was given permission to go home by the army after he felt sick. Um, a tweet by Sika official indicated that the sources privy to the incident has said that the military person was stabbed to death by the mob. According to a close source, he wasn't beaten to death, he was stabbed to death instead. The young soldier was on his way to see his mom when this unforeseen incident took place. Um, Na nti a ɛma mede saa story ɛbaeɛ is because wokae a ɛyɛ UK ha ɛnkyɛe biara somewhere ɛnyɛ London to be specific ɛna ayɛ te sɛ police officer bi ɔno nso so ɔ- wɔ- ɔnyɛ adwuma ba na ɔrekɔkyi nkwaraa bi ɛma two nkurɔfoɔ bi ɛbaeɛ ɔmo ba bɛso ɔmo bɛhyutii no shooting no more than one time. As is on also as we speak, on also fighting for their life. About some years back, so okay, police personnel being so the bomb share the car say and you been one is on also equal. So this when we talk about this security of security personnel now. How did you make it feel? What's his story? Is it something in him said security for no say no more bought him for by na sisi a yɛn ntemamufo no na yɛhyɛ ase sɛ yɛku ɔmo no. How does it make you feel as a person?
Mama, sometimes when it comes to issues of this matter, it's quite difficult. Why is it difficult? And if you look at in life, you know, be able to hear what something. I mean, the risk.
Mm.
Also, make say consequence, risk associated with it. Now, unfortunately, somebody has laid down his life, so he protects the majority as a person. That's another is here. However, however, yeah, yeah, I think I crack because you might not know the causes of some of these things. When I'm in other kaya, they cry that yeah, you have police officer Carrie was arrested. Says on the
Just Uchi was ready.
So in the end, he has been waiting, I think, for 25 or 50 years there in race.
Yeah.
So the reality of the matter is that as much as you have challenges with these things, so men test the point to say they are supposed to someone here, they are human. However, I think we owe it as a nation to offer them the best protection so far as their well-being is concerned. And yes, some of them might be, I'll call them pretext examples. Say, almost from the bar, ADR, forces and access studies for the police or whatever, might not be the perfect value expect. Says somebody of that caliber or that reputation will put up. But say, then my view is I will say, yeah, Friday, because what should you see or not yeah, I think that's really a normal, political fight with the company. He's a good person for the for the police service itself. It's such a person, no idea, but how can you put it? That will be I don't care how baby, that no has affected some people because almost say no penal then you be also if say say dia and can say dia some about or can but this service or not it's just a public relations officer. It's the boss national service. That's what you put out in the public domain. And that doesn't mean or as a person should be targeted. But unfortunately, he was targeted. To tell the maker currently the woman is raped over years with threats. So we be about because he was an armed officer. And the fact that we been about the woman was there. And he threatened some of those people. And consequently, he had a prison generally. But then your father said, yeah, I said, hey, yeah, right? And you're not quite I'm not saying that's the right way to go, but we look at the bigger picture as it stands. I don't know what this young man, right, maybe has done to somebody. I'm not saying we know. Let's everybody say the Ghana suppose that is one way your friend is Captain Mahama, right? Going to protect the friend say ongoing protecting a Galapagos site. In the end, he was actually attacked by the same mob, right? So therefore, the whole of this story, my conclusion is that it is not right? Say they are attacking security personnel. However, besides that, the person sometimes they try to facts, right? And they are draw conclusions. It is very unfortunate. If anything, I think we shouldn't take law into our own hands. Say, you take law into your hands and go, whatever. It is not the right thing, whatever the case may be. But then I was saying, direction behind that very field. What those people, because they are just like myself and yourself.
Yeah.
Right? And they may have done something somewhere you don't know. So that's why when you are going to security services, there's so much of checks, right? Verification of your character and whatever before they take you on. But I think from our own source for now, say the Metropolitan Police in this country are saying they themselves are only now raising their hands up with a fight for the thing. Some of their personnel are not the type they expect to be in the service.
But no one may say you can't. It's kind of everywhere because there's always bad nuts. Every sector be a
Nana, so I see every sector could be but don't forget we have got very unique institutions.
Yeah,
they are unique in their own way. May any way be may yet more be a family say mass and sensor that we could be at the but they have a way of power and no cannot compare to any other person. The policeman could be chill. Maybe I'm one of the I'm a shop runner, I say, may office go there, or no, the power to arrest, the power to put a whole lot of if anything got to the state. And that's why DS should be quite a unique area. I mean, I agree with the chief of the Metropolitan Police Service said, now they are taking it seriously, making sure that their repeating system is so strong, make sure that bad men are a more retrospective of the past can never enter. And I think that's what we need now. They started active working on that. And so far they've talked about all their own. I mean, police officers, and it's beautiful. I think we have to look at this in Ghana also, where we put many people into our police service, armed forces, BNI, whatever. ABI is purely political. It's the
but not any. Main no Yentihana, head of national security, be home 77 at the social media. Okay, and Jay, yeah, Nasa. But at the end of the day, as a national security, once you want to protect one, how can you protect the whole nation? But still, penny more, not still as a permanent. I am. I ask more. My man Obaya, so I'm sure say you were listening to a post near Oyare from the story now all coffee aquastra ne mena ya boni to yeah stabbing a few times yeah bono it was yeah stabbing but the end when is and try UK have police officer being so a few weeks ago you shooting few years back another police officer the bomb in the cars. The question is yes sir security men and because of the nature of Omojuma, and because sometimes if so be at the bonena you become a target. And how can they protect themselves? Because your criminal, when we say a lot of security personnel, so hardly would you see them in their uniform. But Ghana, they say we be bejusi kana way into ya. Utumi kofa police in Ibukra no was police attire and as a soldier need be no animal. Do you think that these kind of measures, I don't know, is there a way we protect our security personnel in our Ghana?
Thank you very much for that. Yeah, I think so. Like, the obviously, then Mr. Ashley came about what's happened in this country recently with what has actually transpired.
Microphone, mommy.
Yeah, what's it make?
In
Make us obviously, yes, Mr. Ashley here about our police service and even I heard the UK side of it. They have it recently in terms of what's been happening. Some of them obviously they said some of them identify some of them someone yet they're not supposed to be in the police service using their power, using their power. And yeah, obviously for Ghana to say as well.
Ghana is a
Ghana they say anyway, so that could be a ship and that's okay. Would be do cover to be on the border, which is whatever it's about we do it appropriate. In terms of that, I think it's because of the what has been happening. I'm not condoning what has actually happened by the way, it was not making anyway. So what I was going to say is me I've been in Ghana a few times. I don't know if it happened to what I'm a police man what a lot of respect supposed to obviously protect the country and protect the civilians, the people around anyway. Yeah, want to bribe. And that bribe will be able to move to 265 budget, right? What I'm trying to arrive at is yeah, who police officers are use some power in so many ways to acquire things from people and I said the civilians. Therefore, the respect that they deserve and I think they should be given no. Or maybe most of them and I say most of the time when you see it Ghana they don't really maybe some more that power. There's the power now also motivate arrested because of the corruption that's going on Ghana and who say they are using power in most of the time, and I'm not saying all of them anyway. Most of the time,
See what's up, ready.
Therefore, no, I myself, if I might say, the respect I have for the place, Ghana place, it's not there. There's so many places. I mean, I should say so many times. So
where in particular, yes, Sujani. Yes, Sujani.
So you're from America. So you're so normal. Bribe at times anyway. In the Kubia or Ghana, like if you're more with traffic and whatever it's like, one way I'm more control. In this case, and I remember thinking to myself, so like, it's how would you do 2 cities, 3 cities? How is that going to help you or whatever? It's what I'm trying to arrive in is for this reason anyway. A lot of people don't have respect for them anyway. And I said, be and then some, I'll cause this problem and that's what be whatever it is. And I'm not saying that I can condone it, they see any right. I think it's about time to sort of like the other side. The government has to sort of protect them as well. They need to. And to be honest with you, if you don't work it, you're not supposed to wear your uniform. So in this case, and I don't know whether this person was wearing the uniform or not, but it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be that the person is carrying around. I didn't know to say, "Oh, you're a police officer." And yeah, we're going to shoot you because they must have been in the police car and I said,
Soldier.
Yes, police. So not
soldier. Yes, Sujani.
Oh boy. Okay, yeah. Oh, sorry. I've got myself confused with two of them. Anyway. Sorry. So yeah, but you've come across them on which bribe anyway. Okay, there was this talked about on this program as so near to drugs or now with this out. So because they are not really far off. We have a bit more respect for them than not police officers anyway. But they tend to be in the places that they shouldn't really be. So in terms of like if your uniform, making sure that like they don't wear the uniform, that would probably protect them in so many places. So it doesn't happen a lot with the soldiers being attacked. But we have to say that we hope that the government will do more to kind of support them and just help them to obviously protection has to be there better than what probably is at the moment. And as a respect that they need to gain, it needs to be there more than it should be. Because at the moment, we say yeah, the for attacking and I say what has actually kind of caused this incident to happen anyway. But we pray so like this once and it doesn't really like, kind of okay in our kind of society going forward.
Yeah, better was the
Just to keep something small. I'm just kind of read in between very two thin lines. Stabbing and the mob attack. Now, the fact that it's a stabbing means there's something more than the mob attack. You may say they are suspicion of maybe I'm rob or something in a new area or something. Well, robbery is about for a but the fact that it becomes a stabbing, it means it's somebody who just want to take his piece of cake out of it. And I know that man,
but could it be, sir? It could go both ways as well because sometimes if we have like a place we got say the bad guys and maybe for whatever reason maybe there's been a police or soldier raid in that area. Maybe you'll be spotting say sir abranti na oka soldier for and I say conform to put things right. Obi so it could be so Obi bet me a target, that way. And I'll be to bet to me or not so in a very sort of a revenge for whatever. Could be that sometimes these security personnel they take law into their own hands and maybe be abuse of power. It will be to bet me to keep revenge. So it could be both ways. But the thing is, how could we protect these people? Because Ghana, you see so many security personnel they are off duty, yet they are in their uniform. And that uniform has got so much power, say. At that time, almost to me, they hardly say, come and say, so Obinam, upon security officer, or who is or she uniform. When they're closed, most of them, you want tire, no much of movie attire, no more education.
No, that is the rule. And yes, but by law, you cannot wear uniform when you are not on duty. With duty and your uniform ends there. And then look at the way Ghanaian soldiers sometimes it may show you for them with pistol on their belt and whatever. What you so they almost except say
in the bar occasionally.
Or
there's a program.
That's right. Yes, sir. Nobody would be ever to if the abhor for a minute, no matter your rank, except you are being protected, right? For a reason. Other than that, it doesn't happen. And these are some of the issues that my young sometimes I fell into an issue or kind of. In fact, I was just parking the half of parking baby now, and I was warned, right? I should be careful. All of this is a bit of a star, for young guys, maybe as I've been for okay, to would the probably shoot to be as a man for baby as when we woke up, never hey, it ends there. As you speak, young fire in your friend is saying, Nana, what's the name? The guy was shot. The journalist.
Oh, Azul, that
Yes,
Tiger Eye,
Tiger
you know,
Ahmed
Ahmed Swanley.
Men ka se so for the cool here. But when so the point is the way at the time they used to like look at your uniform and sometimes the gun, right, by police and soldiers, every time you are you can say a minister of interior that and when they take defense, how you can control some of these acts because the only you the right to use a uniform anywhere on the ID to go anywhere. Who need to challenge you? When your police officer, you get you from officer, and you should put you be in the back police office. So these are the things you have to correct to bring some respect. I mean, not more respect to the forces and the service operated here. That is my.
Medas I'm saying and try there was this thing going on. Hey, my whole now winking was studio hazard. Enyamia. Come around and show us who's Enyamia. Anyway, the people the thing is, okay said there was I don't know whether any of you saw this thing going on social media. There's this guy be a not Otukwine and a Otukwine or driving and on one a video no deba out. But I don't know where it went to. I don't know whether it's true. This is an alleged, but it's a scenario. It can happen. Otu kwan na odu baby and I yes stopping police barrier soldier for this one soldier barrier yes stopping no police for stopping chamo stopping no musi onsi for motive for no musi omo ko search on the car chamo ko search on the car no now for some reason according to the audio no the panel soldier for no drop kind of crack cocaine on the car and they chamo ko and almost see a who or car who say I don't smoke. Me yeah, say doctor say me then. On your back and back on catch on vasika. But according to the account no. I've che omo ya osini awo if I no so go ni the bush for me. And then they call police station all right. The more of the story is we could do it then from his recount no. Ni nuane buy or start to probe into it no who says police for now the plan say at the end ɛde kɔgu ne car ne mu ekyir ɔmo try say ɔmo bɛpatch ɔmo day. So these kind of story, and I don't know whether it was a true story now or can I say fabricated story, but sometimes you hear these stories. You see, ebia those people who are meant to enforce the law, no, they create the problem for somebody to become a victim, and if you don't pay your way, obviously you be in trouble. Be answering person why you doing this, whatever you can. This sort of thing can actually lead to say nipa no ni mo area mu a obetumi ayo bibi say nya ukrampo once a odi aya no hu soja ni bia no hu police ni bia it leaves something like a scar. And see, probably it's about time my security service no ye respect your by especially soldier for there we am soldier for don't to be fan kwasa sem nkodi omichi but omo ye the bad nuts no, it's about time our leaders, some who recruit here, they should go the proper way. Then yet, way minimum, because this is what is bringing a lot of problems. Minimum, what any of you have got to say about this?
I'll pick this up. I think the first thing I was going to say, just to educate the listening public about that story, it wasn't true. It turned out to be,
it is almost
but then I'll tell you, say, I will also not doubt the possibility of that happening or has happened to many people who have no voice, you know, tell it to anybody, right? Just that way is a fabricated story. It could be a true story that he has fabricated, you know, make something for himself, maybe to take the place on popular or whatever unpopular. But Nana, the reality of the matter is the problem. Party, you know, so I say, our ways of is the problem. So MPP have power, they recruit all the other boys into the services. So then this bad and they do it. Now until we stop that, me and they say it should be a war, but based on your competence, your character, your whatever, your access to problem before getting. That is the man. What is it? Isn't it? And the more you create that, the idea, it will be full of them, and then the country will collapse when it comes to protection. So then say, the politicians, only they create that problem. The politicians.
Yo, Ima, I don't know whether Sami agent for Sami studio. I don't know whether you got any contribution towards the year discussing about a year Sujania Yaje name kwa same kwai. Aje name kwa every is and it's purely because war barracks or say and Mokofi or Koya Yasamaho Kojinim Ephraim. Have you got anything you'd like to add to this?
Well, I have just much.
Majo at this time.
Majo. Now, I mean, that's yes, I mean, it's a sad story. Maybe very late, so when he hears stuff like that, you kind of yeah, in a way, because it can happen to anyone. I mean, if it's my brother that really says, yeah. I mean, he also I'm still trying to tell the military hasn't come out to really invest in the place. So I'm struggling to understand how it led to the starving incident in the first place. Why? I mean, was he this sort of confrontation between Ono and the supposedly the alleged perpetrators?
That information I think is
yeah, so it's so difficult to really understand how it led to that sort of incident happening in the first place. So it's one of those unfortunate what I understand it. It was very much of a confrontation that led to start. Yeah. So you probably have to treat it just as a manslaughter case, to just any other sort of I mean, I get what makes it news when it's so it obviously becomes an issue. But I guess the perpetrators were arrested. It's a sad one. Yeah, if they find them, I'm sure they. I mean, because he's a military guy, how
They'll get them.
they will definitely. It makes me miss Jerry Rollins in a way. I mean, those times, you can't touch people, you can't touch JJ's people.
Oh, who is good? I used to be somebody's name.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's actually a political guy. Yeah. The task force that was put in place to stop the armed robbery and the land guard issue. So, no, land guard was a man. I remember him on television when he was just crazy. This. Yeah, no, so I don't know. I really don't. I hope everything will settle.
It's for as you might rightly know, a year of China, a year Ghana Independence Day. And when somehow when in Ghana Independence Day, from what I can remember, Kaiser old school, primary school, now I just was white, na babesi kotodwe na wakotwa wuti na ọbụbọ kakra na watu school uniform kakra na wahyɛ starch na ɛbɛyɛ atade to a wode gyina hɔ koraa ntumi gyina hɔ na moakɔsa line na moamaakye a before that the whole of January any February na mobɛyɛ practice saa na wopɛ sɛ yɛnyɛ select now Cosmos Stadium na wɔyi na ɛyɛ maame so far, Akofo, what about the former Chief Justice so far about he has suggested that it would be better for Ghana to use the money to went back for celebration of Independence Day parade to rather provide infrastructure facilities for the less developed communities. Just observing the day with parade in various districts and regions will not serve the interests of the citizenry than building a memorial facilities that can serve the present and future generations. Now, materials the reason here made ever happen because even over we for I would say yeah education for guys maybe now about me if you say very very Magdalene no by na obebo efi ya boy dey Jesus and I say, we are not in the fire, man. In apostle, that's the car we see, yeah, boy, Cotoya. It will be a physical, yearly salary. Jesus, is the poor always be with you. In Timamia, he just brought back that. Say, Sebi, celebration, the Muya, the Muya, say, I parade to remind Ghana for say a maybe came on 1969. 1969. And na Ghana, so your bank by now no. This young Capino was MC 57, 1957. 1957. And Ghana sent for your background by now no MC ni Coco and this is flight. Ko ba ko account wa mo members. Did you please say, Mommy, I said, okay, but before that, no, I want us to reflect on what we've achieved as a country from our independence. Mommy, if I started work by Ayasu, we are about penny.
Yeah, I should start with where do you want me to start with you?
What have we achieved, Ghana, from Osha Park, Tama? I mean, come freedom, Ghana forever. From that time not till now.
Thank you, Nana. I'm sure we have achieved a lot. I'm sure. Is there anything you can say? We have. I think if that's very true. Compared to most of our African countries, anyway, we definitely have a democratic. So we live in a democratic country, and whereby we have the right to speak our minds, express our views and stuff like that. I think it's what we've also achieved. We have a peaceful country. We've I think it's like it's so fortunate. Like if you have compared what Ghana have achieved compared to like someone like Singapore who actually achieved their independence there around the same time, what they've achieved and where we are. To be honest with you, if you ask me my viewer, I may can be argued by someone else. But I feel like we went backwards and when things that we did so well, like Kumamo, honest, we did so many things, to actually bring some kind of peaceful and sort of, peaceful sort of like peacefully and you build roads and stuff and everything. And now nothing is being built. Like, we're trying to sort of like invest it, trying to fix the things that we have already, which at times it's not happening now. I mean, one thing that stands out to me at the moment that we've done quite well with is that but it shouldn't be something that we can actually help and guess how many things we've achieved. It should be a lot by now, a lot that we should have done by now, and we're back new things that we've been able I do find like I do find that our people are kind of struggling and suffering more than we were able to then. We didn't have much then. And like I said, families were different. Like we had a lot. We kind of we depended on our and things, things that we have. We kind of use them at the moment. We are chasing something else and like for like the presidents are, they come with the hope to fix the country and do something, but something else happens, more money, you don't know where the money is going to, focusing on things that is not relevant. So I, in some way, agree with what she's saying. That,
So are you saying that the standard of living back
yeah,
then was much better than energy?
yeah, now basically, I'm talking about from my view, how I see, like when I watched Kwame Nkrumah video, how, yeah, my minimum at that time, me, I mean, then obviously, it says in the days and then my name, they were able to go to the program, do, you can see that there was more sort of like, and not the way that you whether that's the right way, we kind of didn't have what we had, we
We're content.
we're comfortable with that. At the moment, we are just what the West, I mean, I guess what the West is doing more. We all want to travel, because they put two years and they there's nothing for anyone to do. There's no more jobs like I can't want to anymore, it has to become like this with that, if you do this, So in some the reason why some of the things are not kind of progressing and we are not progressing is purely to do with greed. Sana will be something purely to do with greed. But so we'll be the show, I get to gather as much as I can within the 4 years or whatever it is, and I'm going to think about the people in it. So at the moment, we feel like so many things like but a lot of people are struggling. Like, it's a few that are enjoying. The most of us are people in Ghana are struggling. So if you ask me, compared to like independent time to now, what technology wise, I don't think we are advanced in that area. Pushing the brand, we are very poor in so many ways. We don't even eating as well as we used to. But we all eat to sort of chase the Western lifestyle, which is working for us. The literacy rate is quite high. So I would say it's like we've achieved a lot, like infrastructure and stuff like that. We've done a lot, and that would be my view um, in terms of that issue.
Tell so mommy. Yo, it's here for MC and the studio. Yeah, share your independence and not as Sierra because a year or sooner a year independence day, studio hat by Juma, but a year awareness day. Yeah, my 80 yama Ghana for you know my for the nyame ɛde yɛaba abɛduru nim ɔbaa yɛ ahyɛ ɔbaa yɛ ase ɔno deɛ for ɔno no time na Kwame Nkrumah time no baeɛ no na yɛyɛ abegyimberɛ time saa time na yɛ saa ne yɛka no na yɛ abegyimberɛ na saa time no even though there's been some infrastructure need development need technological advancement and of course, now we were much content with the little that we had, it was enough. But now, no, ain't enough. Mammy, don't car over to me from me 028 144 8773 028 144 877. I mean, so do you think what do you expect from CCI? If you do I see a difference 66. Ghana will be 66 years tomorrow. And I'm throwing back in 66 years tomorrow. Obaya actually recounts. Obaya say that are not by me just that are not to wait this animal. It was rampant. What is your recounts? So sad time now. Jim Brenna by Sana Ghana. I any senior I develop here could do. I know Oliver always ask for there where it needs to be. Now, is there any comparison we are to compare another equally something similar African and another country when you're around independent in time? You do compare or more. Do you think say a penny for no media or media bro another set my phone a sword ding and I said do you think there will be a one you're quite
Okay, then, I think there's this statement say when you are doing comparison, don't compare apples with oranges. But you compare apples with apples and whatever. It comes to a point now to look at on what modality are you comparing apples with oranges. There are times you have to compare apples and oranges. There are times you have to compare apples with apples. Could be a different apple tree there, a different apple tree here, and compare the two. Now, I say, in many other countries, he said, although he said we have to progress, it's not progressing. Then I see, oh shit, Ghana Pakistan. So what can I say in Africa? Yeah, because Prophet was started, Africa was the first sub-Saharan, was the first country independent.
And after that,
all of them anyway. And we had a great leader at the time. One of the greatest leaders of Africa. And the West and the Well all know. As he was saying, Malaysia, the far better in Ghana, and are coming back. Now they've converted a bit in serious kind of, productive venture, right? And the other one is yeah, yeah, from Fernando. Now it will be again, get it back.
and they're chocolate.
That well, yeah, develop. And on that context, they can say, okay, yeah, on our continent. But let's look at the bigger picture. Now, mechanically, at that point in time, I was not about America. And now, not a friend of policy. Policy. There's only in the book. Policy. The Jimmy Park, some of the then I go to the policy become my man. I don't know how the old lady felt like. It's something she said, it's like gold, right? So you can just imagine those times, how they were seeing life. People, how myself and yourself see life, right? Now, let me say, if you look at our desire to westernize, yeah, we are forced to do, but we are all designed to westernize. Now, that's Ghana could be pizza. Pizza price is go. KFC, Nana, kind of KFC, and the price we are going. Because you say, I want them to say, they are man continuously. Yet, the price of it. Why? Because of our way of thinking. Nana, society has nothing like progress, but you have only history. When you throw your history away and you don't follow your own culture and values, then you don't get anywhere. And I think that is what we are losing sight of. Our leadership has become so greedy. Your leaders have become so greedy. Is it, Nana, to develop a society or an economy, the greatest is infrastructure. Build infrastructure and everything will follow. It's like seek ye the kingdom of heaven. Everything will come after that. Nana, the UAE, they are more going to make, right? In terms of resources, UAE hasn't got anything. It's a desert. But by what infrastructure development, See, around the world, I'm also people call for this. What have you done in Ghana in terms of resources? Right? From gold to oil to timber to iron ore. I mean everything. Nearly everything we have. We have better sunshine, better speed, whatever. What are we developing in the country?
Solar
Oh, so if you look at that, the chance can say comparison, right? And so, Fernando, now we are second leading producers. Anyway, Alcos are taking over. And they are second leading producers of cocoa in the world. Fine, take that. But at the end of the day,
as is as a cocoa, you can say the need say.
that's the point. We are coming to that. The dwindling of the economy of the society itself. That's the point I'm coming to. To see, I mean, now, right? You took that to go to the next 10 years, 15 years. Cocoa, we are hot, we are done. All those and also empty free you go to fix it. We are. Like I said, for the channel. Now I have so what we have at the moment, comparatively, let us ever compare countries we had the same independence with. In the other part of the world, you can put Malaysia and Singapore on the pedestal and Ghana in Africa on the pedestal. Say, the same time in independence, where are we? And the exact effect of bad leadership on us. Nana, if you look at a place like Singapore and Malaysia, personally, I am not somebody that may suicide myself so, but we need a bit of military leadership in Africa to stabilize our way of thinking. Without leaders, right? They are indisciplined. That's what I see as a problem. That's the price we pay for democracy in Ghana up to date. Now, let me say, maybe Rollins time, I created when Rollins came to power, was quite young, very, very young at the time. But me, and making kind by virtue of this year, share some of these economic policies or other things. Now, I sit back and reflect and go back and say, they ask yourself, wow, this time, and he did some of these things at the time. At the time, he didn't keep quotes. I'm sorry to use that word. Rollins was keeping quotes by the so-called PhD coders or whatever in Ghana. But he did really great things. And I think that's
is it under the military or under the okay.
Because Nana, I want to just suppose that with Rwanda at the moment. One knows Africa, the European is actually a thing of what a nation apart. I'll be here actually a country and to what is right that we don't behave. This is our problem. Nana, at the same discipline, has no problem with other countries. Singapore is the same, Malaysia is the same. These harsh leaders were the ones who led countries into where they are today. And now even the West hear them. Meaning, there's some country, you do Singapore. Singapore is a way of mathematics plan. Almost say so smart. Singapore, they the whole world. They're moving at the same time. But the West could not add up. Singapore has. Our young authorities are made different from any other country in the world. Ghana, what have you got?
Better.
Then
your betters.
Hello. Okay. There must be no chance. Some should be here. Some should not be in Ghana. I know people more mind. Teaching. Am I? Yeah. It is true because leadership comfortable to be in the country. Everything should be either a party member, a family member, or else you are not part of the game. And these are the issues. And actually, to me, we are rather progressing than progressing. And so it is hard. I'm not advocating for anything or whatever, but our leaders have helped us. We need a very strong leader. I'm not saying it should be, but leader with a vision to help build infrastructure and push the country forward. Because we have by our leaders is what's killing us.
that was my main course. I mean, I'm so ma atwamfo nyi bebree de atwerɛ saa berɛ same ɔbaeɛ a yɛase Ghana ɛkɔ n'akyi some ɛyɛ ima nso de ato so sɛ in terms of infrastructure yɛde yɛn ho compare Africa yɛkɔ yɛn anim but sometimes if you want to move ɛwɔ wohyɛ baabi a de wo ho compare sɛ woyɛ woyɛ anka a nka sɛ ɛnɛ deɛ me ne ankafoɔ na ɛyɛ kɔ w'anim na kɔhwɛ apple anaasɛ pineapple because ɛno nso se ankaa na de ɔmo compare no wɔ adwuma a wɔyɛ. Do you think that Ghana yɛdi 60 nyame yɛ adom a yɛbɛdi 66 ɔkyena nyame yɛ adom a where we are no, I know I'm quite conscious that Oliver there can always be more but say on the average and I say do you think that where we have developed time now you Ghana independence time no not say we born shaker me kai pa ni go school ye cry sample me start say me go school na in independence kura manage da 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 but na you be a friend born shaker tro in ya de no mate no osia asan de talk no di me ka da ho sha asi ansa na itina ɛnyɛ asɛm ketewa na yɛfrɛ biribi mekae sɛ na yɛfrɛ biribi tata bus ɛnɛ tata bus ɛni hɔ bio na ɔmokɔfaa akyiri ɔmokɔfaa ɔmo scrape trɔtrɔ no na ɔmokɔfaa sɛ ɛva no sɛ dɛndɛn baeɛ no nso na nkɔfɔ se kunkum nipa because na ɔmo ankasa adapt seat no aban obronyi na ayɛ atom no yɛnyɛ bio ɛtutu ne ayɛ ne mu sɛ na ɛbɛtumi afa nipa gege and now it was a movie crowd near friend something like gege and no now you first man na kayeko school ebi mu nanti NCC obi a empaboa and a computer me kai say me produce you know na me ko computer classes gram by ne school computer engineer me for me compare Africa because you must say me I am coming from home compare. Do you think say Ghana baby headroom? The more scenarios I want to year one baby headroom. Yeah, this is the so no. Are we okay?
Well, my question, no why? Let me try to say kind of question. Wapa, it maybe I start to question. I'm saying for me the baby because no me baby and nonsense. But it's an interesting one. The thing about analyzing, growth, development, and all that, it can be very subjective depending on what sort of key performance indicators are being used. If the measure of performance AI, as you kind of you also alluded to that, that say you make a comparison with regional sub-regions with this sub-Saharan Africa in terms of just who got independence first, how they advance democratically, how they advance economically, and politically, all of that. You might be very much tempted to agree. I'm sure a lot of people will say we slightly ahead of a lot of countries in the sub region. In terms of, I think I mentioned first one, the democracy that we had, and especially at the focus of democracy. Since 1990, there's never been, we still involved in the constitution.
There was an attempted one.
Which one?
Togo. Is that not my
Was it?
That was, I'm just, I could not come here. It's the political stability that we've had in the past for so many years. I know you look at from independence when politics in the country was
what's up, ready?
The CPP, all the fights, the military takeovers. So we've moved on, and we've become much better in terms of our electoral systems when we were voting and those type of templates. I'll go ahead in English
more?
to identify you.
What was that?
And we go with it and come back again. But I know you have done that before. I have, but I'm just putting it out there that people that
Well, what is your evidence for that?
well, I mean, he can, you know,
His evidence.
He's mentioned his name as Merlin, my name as
Okay.
and we moving on from that. We've done well, you know, in our electoral systems. We have developed. We have an electoral commission now who seems to be like a queen and doesn't want to perhaps listen to anyone to do what she wants. She's very independent. No one is still touching her. So that's proof. That's political maturity, I would say. So we've moved on, economically, it's not that bad too. It's only unfortunate that if I had been in Ghana quite recently, I would have said these are quite okay. But we know that say economic components, so you look at the infrastructure that was there so many years ago that we still relying on it. Because of that, we still relying on that, and that should have maybe by now we've got. I know we still have those power plants and the thermal ones, all of that. So there is that incremental growth and development for those years. I guess you say the measure of performance is what will determine whether we are the answer or not. So everyone did mention about the key industries looking at countries that we all had independence at the same time, the region, and where they are, which we haven't any clues to have. And I said like last 2 weeks when we had this show, we had spoke about the the fields that I basically witnessed when I went to Ghana, and the fact that places that I grew up, you said you expect development to be now better than when you and it's worse than when I was growing up where I grew up in. And it's so crowded, it's so matched up, and everything is so messy. And therefore, push it to those things, you very much in will be in agreement there. That cannot be something that you can be very proud of as a country. Having been there for 66 years, and maybe someone would probably argue if the British were still there, we'd probably be, better off in a way, uh, economically maybe. If you look at South Africa, and all the attitude that they've gone through, I mean, it's a horrible system of government that they were running. But you look at how the country has developed. I was actually quite surprised when it was actually in the news that the Russians are having military drills with South African military.
Mm.
That Russia and the Chinese actually are having military drills with the South African military. And that in itself tells you the level, because if I mean, of course, they are looking for packets, but they will just correct. Yeah. So you compare all those things now, it makes you feel sad, and they undo it. Yeah. From how yes, Ghanaians are still going to South Africa for medical,
yes. But in
Yeah.
addition, don't
Yeah.
forget, whilst Americans are having bills with China,
Yeah.
Ghana is now on its knees asking
Yeah.
China to forgive them their debt.
Well, yes,
So
yes.
that's
The tale of two cities, and it's it's sort of you could analyze it in so many different ways, but we haven't we haven't reached out. I mean, even I was going to say our fullest potential, but we haven't even got our potential yet.
not at all.
As to where no, not at all where we probably should be. The human capital itself that we have, you know, the the number of Ghanaians that are actually contributing towards other countries' development. We have a fantastic HR person here who is a very, very clever man.
Chatted.
Accountant and
Chatted.
chartered. And then we have our chief accountant chartered as well. Yeah, who, for the lack of the opportunities back home, we all find ourselves stuck in our own vomit, really. Can you get stuck in your vomit? No, probably not. But yeah, here we are. So the short of all of that is we are not where we meant
Mm.
development that we haven't, which are the full potential at all. So, and that's very simple. Nice. You know, I think that there was a question that you were actually asking us about the expenditure, the money that was Mr.
Mm.
Uh,
So
what
we should use the money to do infrastructure.
you know, and I'm pretty sure at a point in time in our development in growth as a country, independent celebration will become something very obscene. People will not see it as something very important to do anymore to parade kids around all of that. Because the issue of celebrating the independence from the British and being on our own to basically write our own story. We've already started writing the story. We know what the stories are now. So we haven't. I don't see really the that you know. Yes. Yeah. Exactly. You can still do that, and I do agree with Mr. Kofu. You can still do that in a very different way because it does spend a lot of money with this. And when some time back, the 31st December, 4th, June 4th, were celebrated as a public holiday. We spent quite a lot of money. Obviously, constitutional democracy, people now have issues with that, and we have relegated all of that in the background. But they still celebrate it. June 4th is still celebrated by those who want to celebrate it on the quiet. Because they are all part of our history in a way. So you can still do the same thing with the 6 March thing, without having to. Yes, public holiday does we still need to have a public holiday. But the whole celebration, if we even make it and a promise to ourselves, all that, I don't know how much they do spend, but I suspect it's millions of
About 4 million here.
$4 million.
$4
million for every independence celebration. If you say you're going to use that 4 million to build library facilities in every community, every year, I know the every year you say that money in the basic one
even in the village, even in the village can afford.
Yeah. No. Or an IT hub facility for the tech aspect of our development. So sometimes we lose focus of the real importance of some of these celebrations, and we end up na that's more African on yeah, why he salute just salute they don't listen because they all been celebrating this thing for so many years. It is very obstinate now. You have to find a very clever way of making it relevant, and that clever way could be that what example I'm giving is launch something and say every independence I'm going to launch this and I'm going to make it stick.
Just have your own way.
Yeah, it's here for our time check at the moment. It's 26 minutes past 6. And may you call a beer. I'll be right back.
Are you looking for business solutions that will serve your needs? Look no further because Caston Advisory is all you need. Caston Advisory is a unique advisory firm that provides specialized solutions in tax and business planning, audit and assurance services, company secretarial services, corporate advisory, corporate training, tax policy advisory, charity registration and accounting, gift aid for churches and charitable organizations. Our understanding and industry experience provides a cutting-edge software solution tailor-made for your firm. Locate Caston Advisory in the UK, Suite 4, the Generator Business Center, 95 Miles Road, Meacham, Surrey, CR4 3FH, or call us in the UK on 020-840-81520 or 078-867-15702, or email us at info@castongroup.com. And in Ghana, locate Caston Advisory Suite 5, the first floor of the Zerka Plaza, Tetegu Junction, Southeast Ranger off the Kaswa Highway, or call 0249-700-075. Caston Advisory, the delivery of excellence redefined. Caston Advisory.
Trinity Driving School, your #1 driving school in the UK.
Did you know that they're equipped with professional driving instructors who will teach you to pass your test with ease?
So, if you want to pass your test, please look no further.
Contact Trinity Driving School on 07507 116997.
Trinity, safe and responsible driving.
It's here for yeah, I don't pay the car about. But just to let you know, no, and this one story, I find it very interesting. And since we have two strong men in the house, I would like us to touch it. I said, stop on authorized Kari hostel project in Abubulishi, Ghana Traditional Council. And now, dear Semi Beto, members of the Ghana Traditional Council won the unauthorized construction of a hostel of headquarters. Supposed to Kaya you for headquarters in the capital Accra to stop immediately. A statement signed by Kentucky Teku
Hey, and a year.
the
Kentucky take you true.
Kentucky Teku Churu II, Ga Manche, the president of the Ghana Traditional Council, noted that the council has not been contacted nor has it been engaged in prior discussions on the establishment of the facility at Abubushi. It thus served notice that any person or group that wishes to proceed with the hostel project for Kayaye should seek a new site outside the city. The Ga Traditional Council, under the leadership of its president, Ga Manche, and the people of the Ga state remain vehemently opposed to this project, the statement said. My main facts story, I don't know, gentlemen, send me the best that say, what in so, set in name said, Jumedia be a cost baby, in the cities. I know, say, in crying assassino, and cry for dear, and usually say, Ipan wako town planning, Nasta Okoya. And I know a lot of people sleep rough in Accra. And Nasta is the episode hostel. Emma say Bikaya you for Moko. Yeah, we are headquarters and I'm profanity. This year almost almost outside the city. How what do you is it because a man consulting in himself as another question I ask myself is saying this year no obi sit down e won crying. Do they still go and see and cry Manchanana? Is that how it works?
Yes, Nana M said traditionally, don't forget our constitution takes care of chiefs as the owners of land in Ghana per the constitution.
Mm.
So if the government needs land, it has to go to see the chiefs because they are the owners of land in Ghana by constitution. What it is if you're going to a place like Ashanti Village, any land you want to develop, you have to see the chief of that particular baby town or village,
Yeah.
and that person will report that to 2-4. The 2-4 decide and agree that let's give this land to the government. So I think if you look at the newly developed areas around the what do you call it? The barracks complex area, all those areas were given to government for some of these new estates by 2-4, and that is what it is in Ghana. So realistically, yes, if you want a land in Accra, government doesn't sell lands. We have state lands that were acquired by Nkrumah those days. They were paid for, and so they belong to the state, and so the state can sell those ones. But other than that, any other land in Accra, which is not owned by individual, is owned by either a family or a chief, right? And so that is the tradition. So that answers the question. But another question is, if you want to build a hostel, a headquarters hostel in Accra, the question to ask yourself is, what is the hostel for?
For headquarters.
For headquarters. Why is it that headquarters should be a hostel? How many people in Accra who are guns themselves traditionally, who also sleep rough? Right? So you see, the whole thing is taking a podcast home. That is the problem, because you want the headquarters to vote for us as government in power. I must state that fact. Because don't forget, this was a campaign message way back in 2015, 14, 15, 16. It's not something new. It happened in the past politically.
Right.
That we're going to build hostel for headquarters. And so headquarters in their numbers voted for NPP in 2015 and 2020 with the hope that they will have a good place to lay their heads. The position of the Ghana Traditional Council through King Takite is not that they don't want, let me say, actually to say, northerners, in quotes, are mostly people who come to Accra or to the south. If I say Accra, I'm getting it wrong. To the south, Kumasi and its environs, right, all the way down to the coast.
Okay.
If that's the case, the argument this Ghana Traditional Council is advancing is that why don't we build? First argument is, why don't you build this same hostel for them in their areas? Or the reverse side of the same coin is develop those areas for them to get jobs there and do, instead of you coming to choke the city. That's the capital city, which is Accra, with all these hotels you're coming to build. If you build hostel, that have to contain maybe, let's say, 400 or 500 people. You have added 400 or 500 people to the population. Unexpected. But if there's no hostel, they may have the chance to come to Accra, do some short job, go back to their part of the world, of the country, and continue their lives. Or build it there for them to stay there, develop the area, and let them live there. If not, the Ghana Traditional Council is saying that Abubuloshi is in the heart of the city. Abubuloshi not far. Abubuloshi is, if you go to, I don't know if you know Accra that much. Abubuloshi, Incarnation, and Polibu, and then the Ghana Central in the middle. That's
I know Abubuloshi market.
Good. So if that happens, it means you are choking the heart of the city. And I think I agree with them, because sincerely speaking, Accra is really, really choked. Accra, as we speak, is really choked. So my view is that if you want to do something for the so-called Kayaye hostel, it should be outskirts of Accra. Because we have to try centralize Accra a little bit more going forward. There was a time they moved those Agboshi people, those who sell, they used to have an onion market there. Now I think they moved them to somewhere around the Salon. Right. So we have tried to decentralize the Accra town as compared to rather bringing in more people to live within the Accra center.
But that wasn't what was put in the report, though. That they said nobody has sat down with them to discuss. That's what the Ghana manager is saying.
Yes, the Ghana manager will say that nobody has sat down to discuss that because the politicians have taken that position to build it in Accra.
Right.
So as much as you hear that said nobody has sat down with them, he is trying to take that. If you have sat down with us, you shouldn't even have put this in the public domain because we are not going to agree. You get the point. So it's not a matter of just coming to see us and you give me the go ahead to do it. But he's trying to imply that even if he had come to us, we will tell you no, you can't use Abubuloshi. Maybe go and build somewhere around maybe Amasaman, Ajekutoku, those areas, and that's fine. It may be still part of the Greater Accra region. May I don't know Ajekutoku whether it's truly part. I think that's part of the Eastern region, but probably I don't know the Ajekutoku area. Kind of.
I don't know.
I'm not very sure. But the point I'm trying to make here is, if that is the case, you ask you to go to outskirts of Accra because don't forget, Kaswa alone is in the central region, and Kaswa is now part of Accra, complete part of Accra. So the congestion of Accra is being added by a place like Kaswa and onwards, right? So the point I think the chiefs and the Ghana Traditional Council are making is the Abubuloshi is too much in the heart of Accra. Why can't we develop some tourist attraction proper in Abubuloshi instead of, and that can get us money. The country, maybe the Ghana Traditional Council itself, might have some money out of it instead of a hospital for headquarters. So I think that's the position they are taking, and I support them that it is not right for them to allow government to make its decisions and just implement its decisions on the people of Accra because they own the land. That's what it is.
Yo, Obaya I don't know. Obaya Same call Samiswana. Yeah. I was Mr. Ima Amai a little bit of analysis why he thinks what's it of course said the traditional council or Mokasa. But do you think say I'm building hostel now, Momokra, Pona, Kaya no, they going flat in Accra anyway. They will come. No one is going to stop them because there's no kind of it's a free country. Who to me move baby and a lot of people, especially from the north, will want to move to the south. And usually they stop over Kumasi, the headquarters is Accra. Do you think say Wayno will rather make Accra dirty and I say because people will still be sleeping rough and this is not going to stop Kaya or if it's something to do with Accra choked it's kind of it's not going to have any impact.
You know, that's the Agbobushi problem, no, is very historic, because you have to go all the way back in, I think it's somewhere in the 1990s, the Kukumba Nanumba War, no? And that place was actually a wasteland. Wildlife was actually thriving around that Agbobushi area because it is a Kole Lagoon, Odo River, that sort of facing. Yeah. There was a lot of wildlife around that, but we didn't value wildlife, in as perhaps we should have. And during the Kokomba Nanumba War in the 90s, Nanayan War, so I don't think you remember. And the people were displaced from the northern region, and as a result, that land was actually given to them to settle.
Is it the one with the
Correct. That's that war.
I remember that
when Yana was beheaded,
Yeah.
and he led into all of that. So the Yana, the chief of he was beheaded and he led it, and that is basically what brought about the settlement in Agbobushi, because it wasn't a place that people were meant to settle. And I was even quite surprised because it was meant to be very temporary for them to just when it gets insulted, then everyone will go back, and then it became a slump, and then the metal issues, metal dealers, and everyone was scrap, basically started coming there. So historically, that place, I think it belongs to the Ghana Traditional Council, long, 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 long time ago. And I think if I remember right, during Rollins' time, I, I'm trying to remember, there was the either the Garmanche or so, or something like that. There was that sort of discussion that allowed, the place to, because it belonged to the Ghana state. I don't know what the deal is now as to whether government is taking full ownership of the land. And again, Iba is right to talk about the constitutional aspect of the ownership of land, which is land is vested into the hand in the chiefs. He used to vest it into the queen, and then
That
the
was
graft.
the Gold Coast.
Yeah, but I'm trying to give you the background of how it came back into the hands of the chief. Because the queen was the one that was actually owning land in Ghana, and then the Graf Johnson, wasn't it? The educators in the Congo, they went to uh, um, London, and obviously there was a lot of they fought for it, and then land was now basically transferred back into
Does
the,
that
the
include
hands of
Achimota Forest too? That has
every
become
land generally, land generally is
but
invested.
Achimota is
Is vested.
almost impossible for the Gans to take ownership of that.
What do you mean?
Despite all the chaos and the wing of be there.
It's not almost impossible. I mean, there's still that this fight over the ownership of that. But when the politicians were selling the things all over the place, quite honestly, some of the problem that the Ghana Traditional Council is struggling with, is in for the urbanization of the Ghana land,
in the
where
political
and the political aspect of it, where and the weakness of the Ghana state in itself, because there was a long emptiness in leadership of of the gun. So yeah, and that conflict, also didn't help. But there wasn't the unity that was needed. But there was the leadership was missing. Intending now brought about the weakness of things were basically sold all over the place. And also politicians taking advantage of some of them, and it resulted in where we are now. So this need the need to his leadership
Is that
now,
how you say you pronounce it?
yeah, Ekochuru, his leadership now is trying to bring the Ghana state into a more respectable traditional council than it has been in the past. So there are a lot of things that he's doing, which is, in my view, is actually the correct way that things should be done. Because I can't understand, you can't go to anywhere in the Ashanti region and make decisions like that and start without consultation to Otumfo and start making building projects, where okay, maybe the argument could be said
It'll be
if
the
it is
chief.
a project where the government is actually even that they always, do this in within the project. Some of them you don't get to hear, but it does happen. So the traditional council, one of the only ways that the source of funding is the land itself. So the royalties and all of that that they have to benefit. So I was very quite surprised when the traditional council is mentioned and said they had no idea about this at all, for this to just please go ahead and then people, trying to build as they want, you know. So it is the right thing to do, for the Ghana state to, in so to speak, stop work. I mean, I don't know what powers they have in terms of the enforcement, but some of these enforcement, even if it's not legal, they can still enforce it through the cultural and traditional
Yeah.
means. Sending the willow men and people to go and wild people around and so then I think the right thing have to be done. The Ghana state in itself has been taken for granted for too long, and there's a lot too many encroachments. That has happened in the past, which continues to happen.
Abaya, a lot have been said by the men. I was going to say the boys. Um, they say they are still boys. um, and cry as I say. Sebi, and cry there. Ubia con cry and cry has almost. If you are not careful, before say and cry, a buying dear because be a con cry, be a con cry. Ubia so free the cross here. Person headed towards and cry. They all took a dab on them. The answer benya the one who sorry when you my. Do you think say come and say it okay? So be an metana city. Some building hostel na monko outside the city of Obushi. Na monko call you. Don't you think say do you agree with the boys or not? And I said, do you think that they should go and sit at the table and have a proper discussion? Now, so that you draw a draw. And I said, during the day, you can confirm for one of them Google one thing. You can any need
Thank you, Nana. Thank you for the this one anyway. So like maybe view on this one particular one anyway, it needs to be built somewhere. Because for me, I think it's like maybe as you said, be at the best thing is more better now a government in the events if the better no more my like my go through the process properly to make sure say my building. Be a baby will be there's a problem. Because we found so be a now almost suggest that will be a problem anyway because of the plan. Because where I'm coming from is pushing Accra in general. There's a lot of things that is happening because it's supposed to be the city anyway. So you're supposed to kind of get rid of, if we can anyway, get rid of people before people say if kaya
Kaya,
for you na na mabonte people need baby at na dum that bonte some people are getting raped and all sorts anyway so many children and all this displacement that's happening. I think it's having a central place whereby like you it's easier to control them and it'll be better because we are there and they have to go somewhere. Because if baby far away, people that work in this normal year, and they are going to struggle to get there after they've worked. So it has to be somewhere they know. Already, I mean, it's just a community whereby there's a lot of people who be there from kaya people that will be based in that area. So I'm sure it's a matter of sitting with the chiefs and just sort of like establish what's going to happen. But I think that it needs to happen there. But it just I'm thinking about just trying to control the high rates of addiction and joining running. I mean, people that are found the baby are done all them things. Controlling that probably will be more healthy and more, make Ghana probably look a bit more of the deaths in our society, Ghana, especially Accra, and having kind of displacement and all the like what I mean, bija no Ghana no in terms of for that one thing, remove those things to stop mostly crime and rapes and things that happen. So yeah, I'm for where they've chosen to build basically.
I was curious.
Mm.
Who is building this?
It wasn't.
gap
It wasn't
there?
stated in it.
Because
Yeah,
I'm just trying to understand if it is a private bench
it wasn't
or is a
stated from there.
government that is actually
From there. It's not.
because Mr. Ashley mentioned about the political aspect dimension of things, where the vote by promise, political campaign promise. So the point is, I mean, is it government duty to house private individuals who are doing the business? Because Kaya is not they are working and earning an income. So I'm struggling to understand. Say, are they doing it because I mean, is there a real problem of housing for only Kaya? But
I think
there are a lot of people. These things usually it will be a non-governmental organization, an NGO that comes in
to
sort of invest in this area
mm.
and displace people. The
Unfortunately, it
UN,
wasn't kind of
anyway.
stated from the report, and however, no, I think my own perception would be just to make sure it clean because I mean during the
It's
day.
easier to find them anyway because it's an woman to be and then I don't know what's happening to them, especially
Just to contribute a bit more. Like Sami is asking, the point is, government in Ghana, you don't have social housing in Ghana. Nobody
Really,
has social
Real.
there's welfare, but
housing.
uh,
What do you mean, Dr. Abu?
And yes, social, I mean, and yes, social welfare is here. So what we have is, if you say you're building for the Kaye alone,
yeah,
what about other, kind of,
Now, say teacher book, I'm really very
yeah, there's all good to that.
Let's go
Teachers, there's all, the kind of guys want to, apart from the hospital now, if you are being 15, 20, say, no, yeah, man, yeah, come on. It's nowhere.
it's a hostel and also it's not anywhere. It's where we
but you know how it ends up. Also become permanent
Also,
residents.
That's not going to happen. It's not going to be so. So the point is, at the end of the day, if we say it's all political, right? Like some maybe some, if you were to be from, let's say, your friend saying, orphanage, yeah.
Yeah.
See some third sector, maybe say be a charity block, or maybe say, oh, we want to help the friends say, carry your baby, whatever he gets is hair or whatever money to build it, no, it's fine, any problem. But when it comes to governmental intervention,
But it wasn't kind of said in this report, though.
yes, but it's come up. I have heard this story about maybe a few months ago,
Okay.
right, where the traditional house has disagreed with the government. And that's where I reflected over the campaign message of the government. Way back 2015. That's it was about this story. And Kai, we were holding their bases and whatever. One of their campaign was so cry by the media. So that's where we're coming from. So I think that's actually linked into this because don't forget we are going to another election where we don't need we don't need, but we are not going to use
Something
we are not going to use Nanado again. But we're going to have a whole new government coming into place. In my MPP too, but this is a different person. Therefore, we are going to play on that again and get a guy to vote for us.
Okay, mommy, there's one story, Bia. It's very, very interesting. And per se, you baby and the show, and I'm quite conscious of the time. But per se, touch on. Also, former President John Dramani Mahama, at the launch of his campaign for the black bearership race for the National Democratic Congress, promised to scrap the retirement benefits given to all Article 71 office holders known as ex gratia when he becomes president. A promise he reported to have made in 2015. The payment of ex gratia to members of the executive under the Article 71 will be scrapped, and the necessary constitutional steps to abolish that payment will start NS in 2025. We will also begin the process of persuading the other arms of government other than the executive to accept removal of this ex gratia payment, he said. And the promise by Muhammad has become a matter of public discussion with many Ghanaians, questioning whether a president has the power to scrap ex gratia benefit. This article looks at how ex gratia benefits are determined and whether they can be scrapped. Article 71 of Ghana Constitution states as follows: the salaries and allowances payable and facilities and privileges available to one, the speaker and deputy speaker and members, and it goes on and on. Because of time, I'm not going to look into that. I'm sure say the house, me and Amos, but Mahama say Oba, Yamea and I don't know Oba. One of the things Oba here is to scrap ex gratia. Things that this something we've debated if he has to. Do you think that he's got a power and it's something that a to me happy and I don't know whether Obaya be pese or be started and I say Obaya be Obaya and I'm if I'm a and then my fan call my fan calls me so I mean as
Yes.
gracia Muhammad say Oba as gracia no we all know it comes with those benefits you know of scrap. But do you think there is something that will make him popular and I say will make him unpopular?
Well, I wouldn't say that is in a way a huge political um what's it? Yeah, no, well, yeah, that you can actually count on and say I'm going to win election because I have this policy. Yes, it will convince some people that the national purse is actually being taken care of, which is what he has promised. So he's trying to find a way that he could do a lot of lane governments and a lot of savings. And one of those ways, as we know, are people that retire politically, and then they end up having to basically enjoy. Uh, I mean, the whole concept, if you think about it, maybe I think that the ideology itself isn't a bad thing. When you go into politics, and then you, for example, take the parliamentarian 4 years, you retire or you lose your seat. I think it makes sense for me personally to get something for that sort of retirement. Where I have problem with is when you come back again and you retire again. If for example you win an election and then, or I mean, you lose an election, you go, and then you come back again, you win another election, and then you win that election for the second time, and you lose, you're going to enjoy another retirement. So it's like it's non-ending retirement of ex gratia benefits that you are entitled to. So maybe it could be done in a way where you can only enjoy it once in terms of your political life. Because I think you will have to, because that job itself, because it's a very short lived, is a reason why it's important. So you have to pay somebody when they do it, pay them well, because it's not a job. Because it is the people that will decide whether you stay there or you don't stay there. So I don't really have a big problem, massive problem with the S gratia itself. I think where I have problem is how much you can enjoy ex gratia, even if
For how long?
yeah. So you win, you lose, you go, you get retirement, you come back, you lose, you go and get, you come, you lose. So it's just non-ending, part of that. And maybe also, can they be done in a way where maybe the money is just too much, in a way. I don't know. But I think the whole thing is about cost savings, which I think Mahama is trying to, jump on, because we know this government is not a lean government. This is such a government that is so there's so much waste in terms of the even the size of the government itself. So it can be political. To win someone's vote will be just this, that you say, okay, this is what I'm going to do. So we will see. I mean, Ghanaians now are debating more than just at ex gratia. People are really struggling economically with jobs and
Mami
all
call
of that.
by
So
us.
they might probably
Ex
look
gratia.
more than that.
Ukoa the sika ekomu for our parliamentarians. Obi koye juma ebi a o maame and our papa ye juma for 20 years. Now I retire. The benefit of being no for the whole ne career. What you compare obi ejuma for 4 years. It's as say enye juma bia na epe. Talking about high profile jobs to say bia obi investor a professor be and as be a doctor be but when anyone the retirement package now to compare say be yeah and teacher for ni nyina for no ni nurse for no must save lives mo adwuma o my compare politician 4 years. Do you think say Bema can afford actual be
I think I'm totally in agreement with what Sammy said anyway. I think it should be enjoyed once in a lifetime. I don't know whether to add on to what you
and
said.
for how long?
Yeah, for how long gonna be. So I mean, I'm just was even thinking in my head. Yeah, it's something that is enjoyed with the 65. So it was like, you know what I mean. So corner about whatever. You don't get anything now. So like if you 10, 65, like a normal like a 65 or exactly, then they give that to you anyway because you come and go and come and go. So we can't be doing, you know what I mean. So what do you mean, 65 for Ghana, which are maternity rates in Ghana is very high. Anyway. So what do you survive here? Then you get it because we're trying to cut costs some way, in some way anyway. If you go to cut costs anyway, you have to find a different way of saving money. It's another way of obviously controlling it, just like any other job. You come and do your job anyways. Once you reach the retirement age, and that's when that money is into the pot for you, and instead of just that kind of the start, you know, start payments. Anyway, considering a lot of people are struggling, everyone is struggling. Even in this country, we know, cutting costs in so many things that we do, or we keep it anyway. So everyone have to find a way of, cut costs and just obviously put it in the right places anyway. So I'm totally in agreement with what Sam said. But in terms of how they're going to manage it, I don't know how. Obviously, it's going to make him to some people unpopular, but I think the majority of Ghanaians will be more happy because not a lot of people don't get this amount, so that you have to aim for the majority of the people anyway. So I would say like find a way of giving it. I think it makes sense. It's a pension, something like that, a pension expression, and you have to give it as part of because it's the end of your service. You're not going to do the job anymore. Then that's when you get it, and it should be sort of linked to around your pension age instead of being start start and end and come back and all that stuff anyway.
Mami call him a say Obaya listen me am a bit of analogy. Obaya coming up with something very brilliant. Say Abia or him say ex-president Utia Mtafa Obaya advice to Utia Abia Bebo. But do you think that scrapping ex gratia would make Ghana politics attractive? And because the reasons here make cancer say me that a lot of people, irrespective of what they learned, a lot of people who did not even do political science end up going into politics because of the benefits of Obey. And because who we are, benefit the ex gratia thing. Do you think, sir, taking this out, is going to bring the political sector no unpopular now? And I said, do you think, sir, Bema Kofua or Makomedi, sir, actually, politics is in their blood and they are in for the good of the people. And,
Nana, thank you for the question. But if it's a more quick, I come a bit of the background, exactly what we mean by ex gratia. I'm saying movie Brunei is what we mean by ex gratia. In Ghana, before independence, the Queen of England led the Ghana colonial government. There would be a friend cap 30 pension. And the cap 30 pension at the time not be a pensionable age 50 years. So because those is not form for the administrative officers, I mean the big men to find the secondary school before they go secondary school, stuff like that. And so because of going this will be 23, 20. Those is actually the system that I'm going to read this.
is that something? I'm not going to start. Because Yes, but not only go investigate. Papa, go
That's why it
investigate.
was. Yes, you're right. I agree.
Yeah.
And then the capacity is what we call non-pensionable
But so
allowance.
hold on. Your wives ain't forever.
Only here. It's only included that here.
Oh
You
dear.
see, so the capacity was something that was introduced by the colonial government at the time for non-pensionable duties towards the queen. Right? In 2 years more, if you're PWD, now you're top official near there. Now, when need there 10 years, the non-pensionable amount that was allowance that was given to you is what we call the capacity. It is the same capacity. You are non-pensionable by virtue of a Juma war year. Over a short time, who may be 30 years, I expect. The cap is 30. Capacity means that you are capped, you are 30 years, so it's not at least 30 years. 50 years, they'll be over pension at the time. If you go back 20 years, 35 years, it means you don't need a cap 30. So the word cap is a cap of 30. And so you're for 30 years. What do you mean you're for 30 years? Oh, amount pension. Is that the case? And fairness came up and said no. And say amount be for allowable, benefit. That allowable benefit is what a national because all your pay and all your government pay for presidential advisor, what be just 5 years? 2 years, 5 years, where we or government and win in 4 years. You are going home. Therefore, who coffee, if you have your salary, no, you have to give you something.
As that gracia, it's more beneficial to even better than
That's the point. But don't forget, our constitution also gave us the president the right to appoint somebody to review. Every time the president gave a power, who are appointed a commission rather, they call it commission. More about review say, oh, you share, I see it here, be a MPB idea, 500 million. I see it here, be a president, be a 300 million. I see it here, be a the figure. So this is a commission that can decide on this. I'm giving this thorough background for people to understand. Say the S-Gracia, you be so new, right? But it's only people who must get allowance because they didn't qualify for pension. So your MP not be MP for 10 years. You don't be now pension getting the year.
Now, MP is almost MPs, or if you're more, maybe man that. I don't know, but
that's what is supposed to be the case. Nana, I'll tell you, my own former boss, who is now the Speaker of Parliament, Cecilia, who besides of pension here, and then the pension will be a PDR for maybe 15, 10 years of his life. Now, yet a director of a law firm, are not practicing. The hope and the pension was fixed. That's very small for him. Therefore, the S-Gracia is there to support the
not be hold on. I know you're too small. Now, all your Juma Parliament, that is then they're not contributing towards their pension as well.
Good. They are contributing their pension as well through their salary. And the point here is, at that time, no, you find it's all by just 1 term. Cecilia only do a deal for a long time. So he's going to get the money. So that's where the disparity is. And that's why I agree with me and Abaya. Because so Obi worked for a long time. The person every time or this S-Gracia. In fact, my former boss for now has been from 1992. He's taking S-Gracia until he's become a speaker. That's Abambabin, precise. Right. And to the point that person has been taking pension every 4 years. And it's been paid to him. And I agree with somebody said, Mahabe to me, I agree with all the or not say, in fact, one thing I can clarify is that Mama didn't say you cancel S-Gracia outright. His explanation was he would try to cancel S-Gracia within the executive. And that executive means before I went to your friend saying a tree house, no, he has the power because they are under him. He has the power to cancel their S-Gracia. Then he will negotiate with Parliament, with the Speaker. Also try to reduce the S-Gracia, and then the judiciary as well. They also take S-Gracia. Judiciary also takes S-Gracia. And then top civil servants also as well. Right? If somebody is appointed a minister or something, he also takes S-Gracia. Any money Parliament here because they come for every 4 years. Probably with a minister, I I to some extent agree. But young fans say minister now will be 8 years now, 4 years now with the government now. Obedience is gradually one, right? But say back to say civil servant now, or not the automatically is one top civil servant, so like advisor no. Once or more 20 years, 30 years, nothing or pension.
That is better.
That's how you then that is what I think Mahama wants to implement. That stay in when you are going to give you something allowable, just like the captaincy I'm talking about. So captain doesn't come every 4 years or every 2 years of your service, but it comes because you are not entitled to pension. When finally you are going out, captaincy will compensate you with an allowance. And that allowance should be something reasonable. But yeah, for all kind of expediency, MP budget or 10 times. It just said every 4 years for all his life every time. And this is what we have to look at. So now let me come back to your question. The point is, I believe that it is the best thing to do to make sure that Russia will be limited once in your life. If government changes out, we are still there. Not that we won't lose you seat. So I think they can make up member parliament. Won't lose you seats as parliamentarian. And that's all Baba doing is Russia. Only those going out.
And when you come back again, you don't qualify.
You don't qualify again. I think these are the things. Probably, I don't know, but probably maybe John Mama and some advisors or to before. So on that is
and they won't because we don't know. You can just say, also again. And so if you think, my son I said that is why he is proposing that. We don't know yet. It's a awful office for 24 on yana. Who are 24 years? Bema. I think you should do it. And what yeah,
so I believe that that's the thing. And it applies to the judiciary as well, right? Say so no negotiation. I say yes. It's not going to be said just in case whom call off by virtue of pension. That's all back to the judiciary. Why should we take this as gratia? Must say pension what's happening as gratia. That will not be fair. So therefore, I think it is an Muhammad. And don't forget, this thing has been read by many people for years. This is not the first time, right? I mean, if you have so therefore, say it will be fair the ordinary Ghanaian and politicians will not know say parliament and answer corner and yes say every year size can be move.
And I think that for us to know that these are the people who got the people at heart. And because we know this question actually attracts people to come and grab. Because a lot of parliamentarians, how many of them did political science?
It's about political science. Nana, I'll disagree with you on the issue of political science. Nana, when we talk about a parliament, it's about wisdom and knowledge. In parliament, you have to read a lot. I won't take that away from you. Reading is one thing in parliament. If we are not going to be different.
But that's not
head of. You just want advice or baby there, baby.
No. Mami, I'll disagree with you on that. When you talk about decision making leadership, it's not about to be a reading among control, but it's about you reading around. You can put a lot of ideas together, make a decision.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that of course, when you have like every government have a team of advisors that like you go back and say like okay, maybe I want to answer. I'm not saying that it's because he has to go outside and talk publicly, like internationally. She can't do those things. I mean, but she can. I'm again, it's just like I hire people that's a common language. Why is it not possible for us to speak our own language in other places?
And the exposure, intelligence exposure, that's the point.
I agree with Anita. I mean, the issue of leadership. Because if he's very.
So I mean, Patrick,
good with he can be a critical analyst. He just cannot speak English. doesn't matter.
You have
You know, you can get.
not one.
But I agree. I don't think a Kradonko will be
a critical thinker is having been
the vice president
Italy to go and bring tomatoes to Ghana and praise Muhammad as the only king of the world, of the planet. And then Akufo-Addo comes to power and says Muhammad is the worst person you can ever see on this planet of Israel.
But is that not what politicians do? They say one thing and they do the other, another thing.
In a certain context. It's a spectrum. So you go beyond certain level, then you class you.
It goes quite against. I mean, if you're thinking about all this amount, especially if you have for all these politicians and stuff like that, it's really disgusting because you look at our nurses and our teachers not getting paid for years. You know what I mean? They don't get anything. Then someone goes and come back, and you just, to be honest with you, they are equally very, very important to our society. They don't get any this stuff. They don't even get paid like what every month. But me at home for years now, come by.
Your salary doesn't even know your pension. Your salary doesn't.
Am I? Yeah, so bit you want to go by with me, not the years not like you know. And then the contracts they have on the side and the things that they build on the side, or people have a politician and within 4 years, no sit down. It's like you know, me want to be a kind of sit down by talk.
Yes, that's not honorable.
Exactly. How does that make sense anyway? You know, I'm glad
Yo, it's here for Haya Breno, Haya Bre. It's 40 minutes past 70 Haya. Did you make any I would like to extend a special thanks to you for staying with us all the time, all the way from 5 o'clock till this time. Yes, gracias. No, anya popular vote. I was studio here. Ain't also Ghana for some Mahama still to me. Hey, as gracias. And as a discussion so about so better so anything I think it will be in so. We will come on every little helps. Mine look a common Mexican. Yankee come home, send a bear Ghana. Yes, you bet me up fire and to my pa Efra. It is a one time in Kabia mothers and Emidian and Mana. Jumedian one awareness of it in Kabia. Have a lovely week and enjoy your week. Safe.